Right, fractions, decimals, percentages. It's really important to be able to convert nice and quickly between fractions, decimals and percentages. For example, when we're finding percentages or amounts, what we're actually going to do on a calculator is going to convert our percentage into a decimal, because that's a much quicker way of doing it. Also, if we're asked to multiply two decimals together, it might be much easier to convert them both to fractions, as multiplying fractions together is really easy. Now, there is a couple you should already know, and I've set them out here on the right. So, fraction is F, D is decimal, and P is percentage. Now, you should know that half is the same as 0.5, which is the same as 50%. You should know that 0.25 is the same as 25%, which is the same as a quarter. You should know that 10% is the same as 0.1, which is the same as 1/10. 0.75 is 75%, which is the same as 3/4. And finally, 1/100th is the same as 1%, which is 0.01. Now, all those facts there are level 4 facts, so you should all know how to do them. And these quite often appear in exams, and worth 6 or so marks. You get 1 mark per section. So it's worth knowing that half is the same as 0.5, 50%, 25% is the same as 0.25, which is the same as a quarter, etc. Now, let's look at each conversion separately. So firstly, let's start off by looking at decimals to percentages. Now, this is one of the easier ones. So, now to convert between a decimal and percentage, you times the decimal by 100. So you're going to times all of these by 100 to get the percentage. So 0.3 times 100 is equal to 30%. We do the same with the next one. 0.47 times 100. Remember, the numbers move to the left, so it's 47%. And the final one, 0.08 times 100 is going to be equal to 8%. So, to convert from a decimal to percentage, you times by 100. To get from the percentage back to decimal, you must divide by 100. So, each of our percentages shown, we're going to divide by 100. So, 60 divided by 100. We're going to do 32 divided by 100. And we're going to do 4 divided by 100. And if we do each of them, so this time the numbers are moving to the right, so that becomes 0.6. 32 divided by 100 is 0.32. And 4 divided by 100 is 0.04. So, to convert between a percentage and a decimal, you need to times by 100 or divide by 100, depending on which way you go. Now, percentages to fractions. Now, I always look at this as looking at how many numbers have to appear after a decimal point. So if there's one number after a decimal point, like this question, it's going to be a fraction over 10. If it's got two numbers, like here, it's going to be a fraction over 100. And if it's got three numbers after the decimal point, it's going to be a fraction over 1,000. Now, once you've converted to those fractions, either 10, 100 or 1,000, you can then simplify a fraction down to its simplest form. So the first one, because we've got one number after a decimal point, it's going to be 7/10. Because we've got two numbers after the decimal point here, 0.23, it's going to be 23 over 100. And the final one, 0.364, it's got three numbers after decimal points, so it's going to be 364 over 1,000. Now, as I said, if you can simplify these fractions, you should do. But as this video is concentrating on equivalent decimals, fractions, and percentage, I'm not going to worry about that. So, fractions to decimals. So, these. Now the easiest way to do it is we need to make these into either a fraction of 10, 100 or thousands. So we need to make sure the denominator, so the bottom number, is either 10, 100 or 1000. So this first one is nice and easy. It's 9 over 10. Now if we look back here, when it was a fraction over 10, it just had one number after the decimal point. So 9 over 10 must be 0.9. What we're actually doing is we're doing 9 divided by 10, which if we did that, we'd find it is 0.9. Now this second one isn't quite as easy, 13 over 25, because that's not a fraction of either 10, 100 or 1000. Now what we can make this into is we can make it into a fraction of 100, because if you times 25 by 4 you get 100. So because you times the bottom by 4, you need to times the top by 4. If you times the top by 4, 13 times 4 becomes 52. So 52 over 100. So that means it must be 0.52. Or 52 divided by 100. And the final one, 4/5. Well, 4/5 isn't either a fraction of 10, 100 or 1000. But we can easily convert that to a fraction of 10. So we times that by 2. So we've got to times the top by 2, or the numerator. So that's 8 over 10. So 8 divided by 10 will be 0.8. Now sometimes you might want to go straight from the percentage to the fraction. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do this in two steps, because firstly what we're going to do is we're going to convert an 83% into a decimal, which, remember, to get a percentage to a decimal you divide by 100. So the first step is going to be 83 divided by 100, which is 0.83. And the second step is, because there's two numbers after the decimal point, it's going to be a fraction over 100. So it's 83 over 100. Secondly, let's do the same, but this time with 17.5%. So first thing we need to do is we need to convert that 17.5 into a decimal. So 17.5 divided by 100 is equal to 0.175. Now on this occasion there's three numbers after the decimal point, so we've got to convert this into a fraction of 1000. So it's going to be 175 over 1000. Just one last one. Let's say we want to convert 14/20 into a percentage. So we're going to do, firstly, yet again, we're going to convert this into a decimal. But remember, when we're converting into a decimal, we've got to make sure that the denominator is either a fraction of 10, 100 or 1000. Now we've got two choices here. We can either reduce this down to a fraction of 10, or we can times it by 5 to make it a fraction of 100. Well, let's go for the easy option, which is probably going to be to make it a fraction of 10. So to do that, we've divided by 2. So what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. So 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7. So 7/10 as a decimal is equal to 7 divided by 10, which is 0.7. And remember, to get this into a percentage, we then have to times it by 100. So 0.7 times 100 is 70%. As I said, this is a really important skill, being able to convert between fraction, decimals and percentages, but it could help you in many different topic areas.